Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are doing 5 book recommendations for Halloween. I know I'm really pale, and I know this looks like blood, but it's just cranberry juice and rum. For this video, I have chosen 5 books with 5 different supernatural entities, all perfect for Halloween time. So first off, we are going to start with a classic supernatural entity, witches. For that, we are going with The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is actually the prequel book to Practical Magic, which the fantastic Sandra Bullock movie was based on. However, I would actually say you don't need to have read that book to read this. This is following the Owens family, who has been cursed since the 1600s to forever doom the people they love. However, this is set in 1960s New York City, and we are following 3 siblings who are all unusual and unique in their own ways. Franny is too smart for her own good, Jet can actually hear other people's thoughts, and Vincent is incredibly charming but always ends up into trouble. The three's mother refuses to acknowledge her history or her witch background. Because of this, she has really odd rules for the kids, such as no wearing red shoes, no walking out in the moonlight, you can't wear all black, no cats, no crows, no candles. However, these 3 kids are determined to learn more about their history and their powers and their identities. Personally, I would say I actually prefer this as a standalone, or if you want, watch the movie afterwards. The 2 books actually have a lot of misalignments, but I think this is a different witchy read for Halloween. Our next supernatural entity is going to be monsters. And for that one, we were going with The Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. Particularly with this, we are having a very Lovecraftian monster. With the title like Meddling Kids, I'm sure you already thought of Scooby-Doo. However, this is Scooby-Doo all grown up. In this story, the Mystery Incorporated gang is actually the Blyton Summer Detectives Club. One summer, they investigated this haunted house, but something weird and unusual happened there. It's now about 10 years into the future. Many of the kids have all grown up. One has actually passed away, and they are haunted by these half memories of that night at the house. When 3 of them get back together, they actually decide to go back to the house and find out what really happened. This was such a creepy horror read with flowery writing in like the weirdest and darkest way possible. Although I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, I actually loved the adventure we went on to figure out what was going on and why all of these kids were somehow connected to this creepy house. Our next supernatural identity is going to be ghosts. For this one, I'm going with The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. This story is actually split between 2 different timelines, one set in the 1950s and one set in 2014. However, both revolve around a boarding school for troubled girls called Idlewild Hall. In the 1950s timeline, we are actually following 4 girls who are students at the school and are all roommates and there for different reasons. While in 2014, we are following the life of a journalist named Fiona. Her sister actually died on the grounds of Idlewild, and although her sister's boyfriend was charged for the murder, she's never felt comfortable with that ruling. When a mysterious benefactor decides to start fixing up the school, Fiona becomes determined to look into the history as well as possibly figure out what really happened the night of her sister's murder. This book evolved into so much more than I was expecting. It was creepy while also just having a very suspenseful mystery. I recently read another Simone St. James book, The Sundown Motel, and I loved that one just as much. Our next supernatural identity is going to be none other than the Grim Reaper. For this one, I'm going with the Charlie Davidson series by Dorinda Jones. This is actually the 3rd book, which you can tell is very well loved and has even had hot chocolate on it, but this is my favorite cover. Charlie's always been very adept at solving mysteries ever since she was a little kid and she figured out what happened to a missing child for her father, who was a police detective. However, all grown up now, Charlie realizes that she is actually the Grim Reaper and is supposed to ferry souls to the other side. Trying to follow in her father's footsteps, Charlie has actually become a PI and uses her powers to solve her different cases, but being the troublemaker that she is, she often jumps in without knowing all of the facts and gets in over her head. At the same time, Charlie has also been haunted by this mysterious black apparition ever since she was born, and she finally starts to investigate into it and gets way more than she's expecting. I love this series so much, if you couldn't tell. It has such fantastically done mysteries, a nice sexy romance, and is so witty and funny. Dorinda Jones's humor is right up my alley. If these sound interesting to you, I definitely recommend picking up the 1st book. Our final supernatural ghoul is going to be vampires, and naturally I'm going to recommend Twilight. Just kidding. No hate if you like Twilight. No shame at all. just not my cup of tea. However, I will be going with Angel, and this is actually the omnibus. There are several of these. Yes, you could just as well watch the TV show, but I have a booktube, so I'm gonna recommend the book version. If you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, then you may be aware of Angel. He is the 200-year-old vampire that Buffy fell in love with. Yes, we're going to ignore that problematic storyline. However, after realizing he and Buffy can't be together, Angel decides to move to LA and start up his own detective agency and find all of the creepy and crawly things going on in LA. Personally, I've always been a bigger fan of Angel compared to Buffy. I just think it has better drama that isn't super high school-y and also has higher stakes. Although yes, you could just watch the TV show. If you actually read the comics, they continue where the TV show ended. So whether you were in the mood for a horror, a mystery, some romance, some family, or just plain eye candy, I got you. As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Bye.